committed to doing something creative for 100 days. Sounds quite exciting, but a little bit overwhelming, right? Well, that's exactly what the 100-day project is, and this year I'm diving in all over again. In this video, I'm going to share my process for preparing, planning and setting intentions for my 2025 project. It's going to be a mixed media exploration that weaves together poetry, a found book that will hopefully become an artist book, printmaking, collage and drawing. So this challenge isn't just about making art, it's about showing up, it's about experimenting, trying something new and basically seeing where the journey takes me. So over the next few months I'm going to be sharing my progress via blogs, these videos, behind the scenes videos and also on Instagram, so do follow along if you want to. The best way to stay completely in the loop is to join my email list via the link in the description below, and that way you're going to get updates on this project but also lots of inspiration, writing on art, all my content straight to your inbox every couple of weeks. My name's Ruth. If you don't know me, I make videos from my tiny shed studio in Bristol, UK, and I help artists deepen their practice through hand printing at home. If you want to join my email list, please do. I've also got a wait list going on for Hand Printing Happiness, which is my 10-week course that's happening at the end of May, and that's going to be taking people through setting up your home print studio all the way through to making beautiful finished pieces of art. If you're interested in that, then please do join via the link in the description. Right, let's dive in. So I'll just start by showing you my previous projects. I've done it twice before, and telling you a little bit about what the 100-day project is. This is my first year and it was 100 days of monoprint collage. So this is monoprinted tissue paper and then I'd collage it and add drawn elements each day. So what I actually ended up doing was doing a whole batch of collages, usually once or twice a week, and then I would actually sort of react to those collages each day. So the actual thing I did each day maybe only took 5 to 10 minutes, and I found that that worked quite well for me. So the 100-day project is literally doing one thing again and again for 100 days, and the idea is that you record it often on Instagram, usually on Instagram with a hashtag, or you can just record it in other ways. It's basically a way to be accountable, so that you do it each day, and it's a little thing and it changes over that 100 days. What I found here was a way of working. This year was a way of working. I was figuring out what I liked and what I didn't like. I planned this one meticulously and didn't do anything that I planned. So that kind of taught me quite a lot. I mounted some of these up and some were given to my email list, and some were given as prizes. But yeah, so a lot of them weren't that great. But I had to sort of move through those to get to the point where I did like what I was doing. And that's part of the 100-day thing. If you move through discomfort, move through things that aren't working and figure out what is working, that's part of the whole outcome, really. So I really liked some. These are my favourite ones that came out of this. I got abstract with this. I got much more quick at making decisions, figuring out what an image looked good, and it didn't have to be a landscape either. I usually do landscapes. So the next year I did surface pattern, 100 days of surface pattern. I think it might be monoprint surface pattern. And again, I started off with a plan. I was going to make lots of little stamps and do a kind of stamping thing. I've got some on that one. Most of these are on tissue paper. Oh yeah, that's an earlier stamp that I made. But actually what I ended up doing was kind of getting a bit obsessed with circles and a particular circle stamp that I made. And I ended up just doing lots and lots of variations. Let me just move that out of the way. Of the circles. And I just went with it. Because I was really enjoying it. There were so many colours, so many overlays, and then I just kind of was doing things with making images with these cutouts as well. And that was one thing that I really learnt from that year, was that I can just make an image. The whole thing with surface pattern is that you can just you can make an image, photograph it, scan it, whatever you want to do with it. It doesn't have to be a finished work of art. I can play and I can experiment, and I can stick with one thing as well and not make it too complicated. So that's my previous years. So when it came to an idea for this year, I wasn't entirely sure, but I did know that I wanted to do something to do with poetry. It's really become a part of my life. I try to have it in my life as much as I can, and I wanted to try and make artwork with poetry in mind. And I just kind of let this idea percolate. I had the hashtag name straight away, which was 100 Days of Poetry in Print. I thought about haikus, little bits of poetry, maybe just taking a couple of lines from something. I thought about landscape poetry, seasonal poetry, which is where the haikus came in. I thought about cutting pages out of poetry books and using those to print on. All sorts of things, to be perfectly honest, but nothing was quite working. Also, I couldn't find a good haiku book that I wanted. I couldn't quite find the poetry that I wanted. I even bought this old book from a secondhand bookshop, and I thought, well, maybe I could use some of these, but I didn't love a lot of this poetry. And I love Walt Whitman, but I didn't want to use this little book, and there's lots and lots of it that I didn't feel I could really use for my artwork. So after quite a lot of faffing around and looking for various poetry books, I actually found this one just in my bookcase, and this is my old school copy of Ted Hughes's The Hawk in the Rain, from A-level, I think. And it was somebody else's before mine, and they've written all over it, all sorts of things, loads of marginalia. Some of it is, here we go, Ted Hughes is a dickhead. That's a classic school marginalia, but also quite insightful things as well. Oh, women use their sexuality to control men. Oh, okay, quite deep. Some ink blots here, and it's still got the stamp, my high school stamp in it. So I thought this would be a really nice thing to use. I love these poems anyway. I know them really well. They're all about landscape, which is kind of what I love anyway. And I'm going to make a mark or stick something in or add something to this book each day for 100 days. I love this page, just to Sylvia. It's kind of rather poignant. Sylvia Plath, presumably. And I'm going to make it into, hopefully by the end, an artist's book. So it's going to be his poetry mixed with my art, and I'm going to keep it fairly simple, just adding something each day. There are, I think it's about 32 spreads like this. So I'm going to try and do something on most spreads if I can, keeping some of the words, some of the marginalia. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. So that's just kind of been percolating for a while, and then when it came up and I found it, I just thought, yes, this is what I need to do. So I'm ready to go. So in terms of preparation, I haven't done loads this year because I know from previous years that it's all going to change probably halfway through or earlier. Obviously I've read the poems and I've made maybe a few little notes either in my head or written down. I have my collage paper, so I do tend to have loads because I make lots of handprints in the home studio. So I've got lots of those that I can use to stick in, and that probably will be the first stage actually. I'll be doing quite a bit of monoprint collage into the book to kind of change it and have something to react against. I've also got some little dry point plates here. And I do have some other little plates made like colograph plates and things as well, which I hope I'm going to be able to use onto the pages in some way, or even printed onto tissue paper, and then that could be stuck in. And I might well make some more as well, but I'm not going to go overboard because they're only small. The book is small. I just want, and that was a Tetra Pak one, so I'll probably just use some leftover plastic or Tetra Pak to make some smaller printing plates, but they probably won't print brilliantly either, so I have to sort of accept that as well, I guess. I've got my box of pencils and pens, Posca pens, really, really useful, graphite, charcoal, that kind of thing. So I'll be drawing into the pages as well. So the other thing that I have prepped, and I had some anyway, are little stamps. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to use sort of little motifs throughout the book. And because there are motifs in the poetry as well. The first poem is The Hawk in the Rain. So I've got some bird ones here, which I think can probably work. They can be used as repeat patterns, repeat motifs, built up one on top of the other. They could just be single stamp. So I'm hopefully going to use those, and I've prepped those. And I've also just got my standard sort of circle. This is just a craft foam stuck onto a piece of card, and I often use that for a sun or a moon. And again, that crops up quite a lot in the poems, so I'm hoping that that's going to work quite well. So these ones, these are eraser stamps, so just made from a rubber, and these ones are just, I can't remember what these. I think this was mount board with just a bit of stencil card cut out and stuck on, so that it's just raised very slightly, and I'll just roll ink onto that and press it in to the page. So that's sort of very low-tech printmaking, but I think that's going to work really nicely with the recurring motifs of the poetry. So just a little insight here into my first few days of the project, and I've added collage, monoprint tissue paper, and then I've been writing some of the lines over that because obviously it covers up some of the text, and I quite like just picking certain phrases out that I really like. And then I've been stamping, so just single stamps, and then also adding kind of multiple stamps as well, which I hope has quite a good effect. I'm really just playing. I'm playing and experimenting, and I'm really enjoying it. And I just come to the book each day and think, what can I do? What can I add? And because I'm just keeping it to one mark, one thing, it's been really freeing, actually. I don't have to think of an outcome. I don't have to be really deep or anything. I just have to do something. And this was me just taking a butterfly print of some ink splats, and then again adding a little stamp to this one. This was on the poem the Thought Fox. And then I've actually tried printing onto the pages, which can be a bit difficult because the paper's not great, and I have to dampen the book somehow, which I do with a sort of a piece of damp paper on top of it. But it come out really nicely. I like the effect. So I'm just placing the plate on, then turning the page over, adding my damp paper, and then taking the print, and it's worked out really nicely. So I'll probably do quite a few of those as I go along, but that's where we are at the moment. We're on day 6 as we speak. So I hope that's inspired you to maybe try the 100-day project yourself, or at least follow along if not. The simple printing and general techniques that I'm using in this video are taught in Hand Printing Happiness, my 10-week course that's going to be starting in May. So if you're interested in deceptively simple hand printing techniques where you can make finished pieces and mixed media artwork, then please do join the waitlist. It's in the link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.